Hello, villagers. Today's lesson is going to be explaining a few things about your Google Drive that you may not know and allow you to practice it a little bit. I will also show you how to clean up your drive and better organize it for the future so you can get ready for next year as well. So here I am in my little demonstration account, and the first thing I want to show you is the different views. There's a grid view and a list view. The view we're in now allows you to see the files that are in your drive, and they're a little bit larger, so you can actually get an idea of what they are. So you can scroll up and down and see what they are, and then just double click and open it up. So that's good and fast for trying to find what you're looking for. If I switch views by clicking right up here, and you can see it'll tell me what I'm going to click on next. Now I'm in my list view. So it's listing all of the files with a much smaller icon. So it's giving me the name, but it's also giving me some other good information. It's telling me who owns the file. So in this case, it's me because it's my drive, but sometimes people share things with me and they will be the owner. It tells me when I last worked on it. Okay, so some of them have different dates you can see, and also tells me how big the file is. So that will give me some idea of if it's a large file with a lot of pictures and things of that nature. So you can go back and forth between these two views, and I find that really helpful. Okay, so that's one thing. Another thing is, let's say we're trying to find a file that we can't quite locate. What I can do is go up here and do a simple search and just type in what I think maybe the name of the file is and so on. But what's even more helpful is, especially when you get a lot of files like I do in my drive, you can click this down arrow and you can put in some other search criteria. So where it says type, maybe I don't want to look for all these different types of files. I only want to look for documents. And now I'm going to click search. And now it's going to show me every document that's created in my drive. And you can see I still have quite a few because I have a lot of files. So maybe instead I'm going to hit the X here. I'm going to go back to the down arrow and I'm going to say, okay, yes, I want to look for documents. The owner, so maybe owned by me, or maybe I want to go to a specific person. I want to see some that um, a friend of mine sent me, a teacher, or someone else. So you can type in their address here, okay, and then just click on it. And then location, meaning anywhere. It'll check all of your folders everywhere in your drive. And then I can click search. And you can see it's coming up with all the documents that I have. If you even want to go a step further, there are some other keywords that you could type in to try to find it. Since you probably don't have too many files, they'll be pretty easy to find at this point. But when your drive gets bigger with many more types of files and many documents and slideshows, it can get a little more challenging. So this down here may be a little more helpful. Okay, so let me close out of that. So that is searching. So that comes in handy. Let me go back to my drive. Now let's say you have a file that you use very frequently. Maybe it's a document, an ongoing story, whatever it may be. What you can do, let's say this is something I work on frequently, this little form. I can right click and I can go to add a star, add to starred. So I click on this. You don't see anything happen. You don't see it move. It still stays where it is. But if you look on the left side, I have starred. So if I click on this little category, now that file I just starred goes in here. So this is a place where you can put all your favorite things that you work on very frequently. It doesn't move it from your drive, it just gives you a quick access to click on it. And then at some point, if you wish, you can right click on this and remove from starred. And it just takes it out of this category. Okay, let me go back to my drive. Let me show you one other thing. This is relatively new. It's called priority. So very similar to starred, priority will show the last few things that you've been working on or show you things that um, Google thinks you will want to keep up there. So you don't get to decide what files are up here, Google does, and it predicts what you've been working on or what you might want to use. So if you do find something, oh, I've been working on this file, I can click open and just to get started working on it. So once again, you can't control what goes up here. Google does. But if you do want to control it, that's where you can star something, and now you're in charge of what goes in that particular category. So priority you might find helpful. If not, certainly starred might be helpful too. Let's go back to Drive. So you can see in my Drive, I have a lot of files. They're not well organized. They're all in one place. So now it's springtime, and I called some spring cleaning. So we want to get our Drive ready for the next school year. And once we have it organized, it's something we can do all throughout the year. We don't just do it once a year. We can organize it and keep it going. So you have to decide how you might want to organize it. We usually do that by making folders. You have one folder already since you have classrooms. Since that's related or linked to Google Classroom, I would leave that one alone. I wouldn't even touch it. But you can decide how you want to organize the rest of your files. Some people do this. I might click New and Folder and call it Grade 3 or Grade 4. And when I click Create, I see a folder that'll be right here on my drive. So let's say I'm in third grade and I want to put all of my files and put them into that folder. That way, when I get started next year as a fourth grader, I won't have my third and fourth grade files mixed up. Some people want to go a step further, and they're going to, instead of doing this, let me trash this. They want to get new and folder, and they want to create a folder for docs. That way, only Google Docs will go in that folder. Maybe I want to make a new folder for slideshows. Okay. And what you can do then is take that. Let me actually make another one since I don't have too many documents or slideshows here, but I'll make another one and I'll call it drawings. Okay. So here's a drawing. I can click and drag it into that folder. You see how it has that little blue box around it? That's how I know when to let go. And now that goes into that folder and organizes it. Okay. Um, s- let's see. Some of these other things are spreadsheets. Here's a document. So even though I can't see my folders up top, I can click and drag and the page scrolls with it. Now I'm going to put that in Docs. Okay. And I can go one by one and slowly organize everything. I can also take my mouse, click and drag. You see how it's now highlighting all of these? And I can drag it into a folder. Okay. So some of the other ones here, I'm just going to make a grade 3 folder and put the rest of my files in there for now. Okay. Let's say I just wanted to do that. I'm going to select all of these just by dragging a box, kind of lassoing it, and I almost have it all. So now they're selected. I may have missed one. I'm going to drag it right up here into grade 3. And let's see, I think looks like I did get them all. So it's okay to keep a few out over here, a few files that you've been working on recently, but at some point you do want to organize. And once again, that's up to you how you want to do it. Call it grade 3, call it documents, call it slideshows, call it spreadsheets. You can decide what works best for you. There's one other place that you should organize as well. Let me go into my shared with me. So this is a place where people have shared things with you. It could be documents, pictures, slideshows, multiple things. So at this point, if you want to keep these things, I wouldn't recommend keeping them in your shared with me. Think of this as kind of like a mailbox. If you want to keep it, you bring it into your house if it was a piece of mail. So if you want to keep any of these things, I would say bring them in your house, and your house is your drive. So I'm going to click and drag up to my drive and just drop it. Okay. And then it'll be in my drive to use in the future. If I want to drag another one, here's this one. I'm going to drag it to my drive. I'm going to take this one and drag it to my drive. As I did a few of those, you may have noticed that they still stay in my shared with me. But if I go to my drive now, you'll notice that they are here as well. Okay, so that's a good thing. And then if I further wanted to put these into other folders, I can drag them into my drawing folder and so on, and just keep it all organized. Okay, so if I go back to my shared with me, I've decided I don't want anything else that's in here. Anything I have already, I dragged it to my um, folders and dragged it to my drive. So what I can do is trash these. I can drag them to the trash if I wish. I can right click and trash them. Okay. So there's a lot of different ways you could do it. And just be patient. It took a few seconds for those to delete. So I could do it one by one. Just give it a few seconds, and that will delete them in the trash. So the good thing about the trash, now is a great time to talk about it, is here's my trash. And I do see a lot of things that are in there. My recommendation to you is there is no reason to delete these things forever. I would just leave them in the trash. There's no limit that we have. You can look over here, it says my storage. If you have a personal account, sometimes there's a limit on how much you could use in that account. For your school account, there's absolutely no limit. So there's no need to delete these files any further. I would just keep them in the trash. You never know when you might need them in the future. Maybe you change your mind a few years from now and you wanted that picture or poem or document that you worked on. So you can keep them there just in case you change your mind. But I would say for now, keep most of your work that you want, put them in folders. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't take up any space that you have to worry about. So I would just recommend keeping everything that you need. Okay. Um, One last thing here, I have just something in my drive. If I don't want that there either, I can drag it to the trash. I can also right click and go to remove, or just leave it here, and that's fine too. I can go into or put it into drawings. So you have lots of options on how to organize your drive. And that's something once you get started, you can keep doing as you go, as you add different things. Another thing that is handy is recent. Recent shows all of the things that you recently looked at, opened, or worked on as well. So between priority, where Google picks what you want to see, then you have your starred, where these are things you get to pick to go into this little location. And recent, you have three places you can go to find things that you worked on. And then you also have the search feature to find what you need. So your job today is to go into your drive, organize it, clean it up a little bit, try the search feature yourself by changing the type and the owner, and do a search. Go into your shared with me folder, and take a look at what's in there. If you don't want it anymore, you can just trash it. If you do want to keep it, then just drag it to your drive. That way it'll be in there for you to keep and hang on to. And here you see it's been changed. Okay, so those are all good things for you to try for this particular lesson and get more familiar with Drive.